push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ysn Power Hour presented by Athletics from the Athletics Studios here in East Palestine. My name is DJ Yoakley. Appreciate you joining me today. We got a lot to talk about. We got on this day in sports history. We are going to go over the Fantastic 50 spreads of high school football for YSN teams this week. First time ever we've done it. We've gone back and forth. I've asked some powers that be. Some like it, some don't. It's one of those things for me. It's more about kind of the entertainment value of it. Obviously, we're not degenerates. We're not betting on high school football. Like some of you out there, I'm sure. But the reality is we do picks, and we want to get you ready for week 10 of the high school football season. And according to Drew Pastor and his website, we want to kind of enlighten you. And maybe some of these we agree with, some of them we might not. But we're going to talk about them here on the YSN Power Hour today. And two games specifically that we're going to talk about is a game that I was given this week because of our guys being out for YSU volleyball and football. Steve Leslie, Anthony Romo, the guys that are usually on the Ursuline Irish, will be out this week. So being that South Range is going to be on the road at Hubbard, we'll let the Hubbard boys take care of that game. And I will be at the Holy War with Gary Niddle. So I was doing some research, had our conversation with Dana Balish that will air on Thursday today. And I did a little kind of background on the history of the game, the 68th meeting of the two teams. And we will break that game down specifically here today on the YSN Power Hour. We'll have the computer rankings as they are tomorrow when Richie joins us, and we'll go through all of that. But first, as we do each and every day on this day in sports history, here we go. I also neglected to mention that we're going to have, hopefully, fingers crossed, some replays of the interviews we had last night at the Station Grill at Malillo's with Louisville. I think we're going to get Vinny Ballone, who did a great job, and then we'll talk to Coach Mamula as well. Two great interviews, both of them on ysnlive.com right now. But in case you haven't seen them yet, you get to see them for the first time here on the Power Hour. On this day in sports history, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about Vinny Ballone. It's only natural to talk about the guy that he basically is in this area, and that is Tom Brady. In 2009, quarterback Tom Brady throws for 5-5. Not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 second quarter touchdowns against the Tennessee Titans, an NFL record for touchdown passes in one quarter. Of course, Vinny, just a few weeks ago, tied the state record with 9 touchdowns in a game. And there was a lot of speculation about would he get 10 against a team like Sebring or a team, what? No. Talking to Coach Mamula last night, that's not the way he does things. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But they're not going to go out there and be unsportsmanlike and rub it in anybody's face, because all of those guys have been there before. I mean, a championship pedigree with Coach, and obviously he's trying to push it on to his players. But if you listen to their interviews, which you'll have a chance to here in just a little bit, the regular season was just inevitable for them. It was something that they looked to, and it was something they had to go through to start what they really are chasing, and then that's our ultimate goal of a long playoff run. And you look at even getting one victory in the playoffs for Louisville, a small community, a small village that cares so much about their teams, their players, and everything that goes along with it. One win in the postseason would mean a heck of a lot to that community. And not saying that that's all they're going to get, but I think some of the matchups are not going to be as favorable to Louisville as they're going to be to other teams. And that's just point blank, I think, being honest. I think if you look at kind of the pathways, the projections, Louisville they're in for a dogfight. They're in for a fight each and every week. They might be able to get past the first round with relative ease. I think a lot of it goes to injuries. How healthy are they? How rested are they? We think, projection-wise, that they're going to line up with the same team they're playing in Week 10, which is Western Reserve. But if they don't, who knows? And I'm not saying that Louisville is going to handle Reserve 2 weeks in a row, because we all know how tough that can be. But high-octane offense. You got a quarterback that's thrown for nearly 50 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year. And on defense, he's picked off 3. He's an athlete. He's a stud. He's an all-around great kid. And we're looking forward to replaying his interview here at the second half of the show. But the first half, we're going to talk about the Fantastic 50. Let me get a swig here. So it says Drew Pastor at Fantastic 50. It's fantastic50.net if you want to play along. And as far as I can understand with this website, he gets a lot of stuff from Joe Idol, which we all do. The GOAT, Joe Idol. Well, as far as I can understand, like, every one of these picks is in Ohio. And you look around, and I started wondering to myself, like, okay, he makes these picks every single week. And I think he goes against the spread, if I'm not mistaken, that he creates. And those of you who are new to spreads and things like that, we'll try to explain it to the best of our ability. But he has listed, excuse me, over 72% of the time, at least. That's over the course of the weeks. Over 72% of the time, every time, he's right. He's been as high as, where did I see that? Let's go back here. It's at the bottom, I believe. Okay, so week 1, he was 72%, which was his worst all year. Week 2, he was 74%. Week 3, 78%. Week 4, 83%. Week 5, 82%. Week 6, 86%. 7 was 81%. 8 was 86%. And 9 was 87%. And within that, he's within an average, I want to say, of 7 points. Plus or minus 7 points a lot of the time. So without further ado, I created a little spreadsheet to speed things up. We're going to talk about these games, and we're going to talk about kind of the spreads that come with them as well. So again, these are to be taken for complete entertainment purposes only. Okay. Like, we're not sitting here with money in the back trying to count against the spread and put spreads on people. But I thought it's interesting. Nobody else covers it necessarily in that realm, taking a tie in Anthony word. So let's talk about it. Let's put some light on it, and let's talk about why we either like the kind of push or not. So we're going to start with Austintown Fitch, which Fitch actually listed as their number 22 school on the Fantastic 50. So one of the upper tier teams, not only, of course, in our area, but according to Drew Pastor as well. They are favored over Harding this week by 28 points. And there's 95% certainty on this game. So when you look at this, Harding coming off a tough loss 2 weeks ago to Mooney, I'm not I'm not sure that they'll be able right out of the gates. I don't think that Harding's going to be able to keep up with Fitch. Fitch is so athletic, and not that Harding isn't, because they got one of the best quarterbacks in the entire area in Dallas Jet. So when you look at Austintown Fitch, they have everything. They're like, that special when you want an elephant ear at the fair and you're not sure if you want cinnamon sugar or regular sugar or powdered sugar, and there's that one like container that there's everything in it and you can just dump it on. That's Austintown Fitch. They got a little bit of everything and they're not afraid to use it. One loss on the year, a loss that continues to haunt them, I think, internally more than it does externally, against Massillon, Washington. And one of the things is nobody around here other than Fitch is even looking to get in the ring with a Massillon, Washington. And Fitch, no fear. They said, we'll fly in and we're going to give them our best shot. And they hung in there. So good for Fitch. I think 28's probably about right if we're looking at it. I'll take Fitch in this game. And we're not going to play the game of with the points or without the points. You can play at home if you like. But from my perspective, we're just going to play. I think that's right. I think that's a fair spread. So I'm going to go with Fitch in this one. I agree with it. I think they did a good job of analyzing it, and they feel pretty good at 95%, saying that Fitch is going to win by 28. One that we don't necessarily have on the network on Friday, but one that we are going to talk about real quick, could be the game of the week. Beechwood against Grand Valley. Grand Valley 1-8, Beechwood 2-7. There's a 52% certainty rate on this. Excuse me. And they're picking Beechwood by 1 point. That's gutsy. I mean, gutsy from the standpoint of to have to pick a team by 1 point. You know, in the gambling world, in the sports betting world, typically the home team is going to get 3. That's what they talk about. I don't know. That's probably not the same with this at all. But when you look at Grand Valley 1-8, they've had a tough year. A 1 point game, I like it a lot. Not that coaches look at this or watch us in any perspective, but if you're going to Beechwood, you gotta like the fact that you're a 1 point dog on that, and it's going to be a game, and there's not relative certainty on one side or the other. So 52%, I think that's pretty low. That's the lowest. There's another 52, and yeah, that's it. So that's the lowest, tied for the lowest that we see on this entire chart. Brookfield and Champion, 2 teams we're very familiar with. Now, we've been catching some heat about Brookfield, saying that we don't give Brookfield enough love. They ended up as number 10 on our power rankings this week. One of the major reasons is because Ursuline got back in. Ursuline has been posting up on teams, got their second loss, and all of a sudden, people fell out of love. Saying, and I was there too. How does a two-loss team end up on the power rankings? However, Brookfield has done nothing but win after that loss to Ursuline. So I think the Warrior Nation has a legit beef at 8-1 in Division 6, Region 21. And you look at what Champion's been. I mean, Champion's been so roller coaster this year, and a team that we were slow to like, in our picks, and then we loved them, and then we don't know what happened to them. So for that, I think that the Fantastic 50, when you look at it, they got Brookfield by 37 with 99% certainty on this game. They're feeling pretty good about this one. I don't know about the spread at 37, but I do think that Brookfield is playing some of the best football in this area right now. And I think they're playing, I mean, if what they did to Garfield doesn't impress you, I don't know how they're going to impress you. I just don't know. They're in a tough spot in D6. We all know who they have to go through. But I think that if you play a team like Garfield the same way that you would play an eventual Kirtland, now there's a lot to that. That's easier said than done. Brookfield's one of those teams that might be able to upset the Empire a little bit. Brookfield's a team that I think can get it done. I think they sharpen their talons a little bit here in Week 10 against Champion, and I think they go on a rampage. Now, they've got their hands full. D6 is not going to be easy in this region. Not one iota. I mean, you got Valley sitting in that region in D6. That would be a war. You got the Warriors and the War Eagles. That would be a great game. That's worth every penny on pay-per-view. So we'll see. But I like Brookfield in this game, not necessarily, actually not at all, by 37. I don't think the starters, if they get to that point, I don't think the starters are in at that point. I think they get the running clock, yank the starters, because Week 10 in the back of every coach's mind, and you can ask any coach, and they might tell you, they might not. But at least in my experience, Week 10 coaches get really nervous, especially on a full moon. And you look at freak injuries, freak accidents that happen, and it upsets your entire playoff run. I think that you'll see a lot of once teams get running clocks in Week 10, the reserves are going to go in. If that happens at your game, watch the depth chart move a little bit quickly in and out of the ballgame. I think coaches are really nervous about those freak injuries, freak accidents that cost them a long run. Our next game is going to be Canfield and Boardman. And obviously Boardman given a big fight last week to Fitch. What does that look like? They're 4-5 in D2 Region 5. Canfield 7-1, obviously. Missed that 1 week. Got rested up a little bit. They're picked by 24. And a little not for nothing is Boardman needs this win. Have to have this win. And I don't think this is the team they're going to get it from. I don't think that this is the team in Canfield that is going to say, sure, you know what? Pardon me. Sure, come on in. Take your shoes off. Keep your socks on. We'll let you in the playoffs. It's not how Canfield's built. You talk to Coach Pavlansky, there's always a local rivalry between Boardman and Poland and Canfield. Throw Struthers in there. That whole area. There's a lot of that. Throw Fitch in there. Whether they play or not, there's always that rivalry that these teams are going head-to-head, toe-to-toe. And if Boardman is looking for that free pass, and I don't think they are, I think they're going to go down swinging. For sure. But me thinks Canfield is going to make it exceptionally tough. And I don't know that 24 is the right number, but it's probably around there. I would say probably 3 scores for Canfield, because they've got to tighten up the ship. They've got to make sure that everything's ready to go, because D3 is going to be an absolute bloodbath. Probably one of the best divisions and regions to watch in the coming weeks. But just like we talked about the Austintown Fitch trying to sharpen their talons, Canfield's going to have to do the same thing. And unfortunately for Boardman, it's going to be at the expense of their season, at least in my opinion. And there's 91% certainty on this game, according to Fantastic50.net. Cheney in East, this is a 99% certainty. They're picking Cheney by 46. And again, they put these rivalry games a lot of times in week 10. But anymore, it's tough, because week 10, you're almost trying to prepare for the playoffs a week ahead. So some of these coaches would love to have, an easy, I don't want to say an easy win, but kind of a kickback, let's get our senior night in, or whatever that is, or our parent night, take care of all of that, cruise through a victory, and prepare for the playoffs starting on Saturday. Unfortunately for East, that's what Cheney's looking for from a standpoint of again, sharpening up, trying to get ready for what is going to be a wild ride in that D3 Region 9 bracket. And East at 1-8, the only win that they have this season was that forfeit win from Mooney. It's going to be tough for them. Tough sled. And I still think 46 is a big number based on both teams being Youngstown City schools. I don't think that anybody's trying to make anybody look bad or embarrass anybody. But I think Cheney gets the win. I think 46 is a little bit exaggerated. So I'll from that spread, I would say it's a little bit large. Next game, Crestview taking on Newton Falls. Crestview has turned it on. And right now, as we'll talk about tomorrow, spoiler alert, Crestview is sitting in the number 16 seat. Or 16 seed, I guess. Seed, same thing. In their region and division. So at 3-5, Crestview can squeak into the playoffs. So at D6, Region 21, the Rebels are trying to be a 4-win team getting into the playoffs. Now remember that Crestview and Liberty didn't get to play. Because how do I put this lightly? If Crestview gets that win, they're in. They're in. But Crestview will only have 9 games at the end of the season. 9 games. And you can look at the divisor. You can look at it. You can cut it up. Oh, you mathematicians out there. It's interesting to me because Coach Cusick, who is also the athletic director, looked everywhere for a game when that got canceled. And if somehow Newton Falls is able to put a game together like we've seen them do before and beats Crestview, which Newton Falls, they're a 3-win team as well. Crestview's out. They're done. I don't see them staying in. They're favored by 20 in this game. But I think that's deceiving. I don't see Newton Falls rolling over in this game. I don't see them just being a turnstile for Crestview to get into the playoffs and to get into the tournament. And believe you me, Coach Cusick is telling that to his guys today. they're not going to let us in. This is not 2020. They're not just anybody that wants to go to the playoffs gets in. Even at 16, you got to earn your way. And this is a Crestview team that is experienced in the playoffs, a coaching staff that is experienced in the playoffs. And I've told you once, and I'll tell you a million times, folks, once you get into those playoffs, if you're 3-7, 3-6, 4-6, whatever it may be, or you're 10-0, it doesn't matter. You're 0-0. And that's the opportunity that Crestview's looking for right now, and they need to win. We talked about teams that need to win. Crestview needs to win, and they're picked in the Fantastic 50 by 20 points. And I got to tell you, as much as I think Newton Falls is going to get up for this game, I think Coach Q is going to have his guys amped up and ready to rock. Blast the country music, and let's roll, because the Rebels, I think, are destined for the playoffs yet again, somehow, some way. Scrappiest team in this area, the Crestview Rebels. Played a tough schedule, fought through it. First-year quarterback. Rockland Batura, one of the best running backs in this area. He does not want to be a 9-game finisher. Crestview feels like they're destined almost for that 10th game because they were robbed of it during the regular season. So I will say that's about right. Crestview and the by 20 spread, they're feeling 87%. So one of those where they kind of feel like it's going to happen, but with 13% uncertainty, you just never know. I feel like they're in the same boat. Is a great quote right here. Great comment. Unfortunately, consolation prize is Kirtland in D6. Correct. And the crazy thing about it, I don't think that the Rebels would back away. I don't think that the Rebels would shy away from that at all. And in fact, I think that they would embrace the opportunity. You know, we sit there and we talk about, you know, at some point, somebody's going to beat Kirtland, whether it's, you know, a D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 team, a really good D7 team. But if you look at the DNA that Crestview is made up on, there's no give in that. They'll take their lumps. They're fine with that. There's a lot more. I don't know if this is going to anger people. There's a lot more of that South Range / Columbiana / East Palestine / I mean, you can slash it up. There's a lot of grit in those Crestview kids. And they're not just going to stand by and get walked on. If they got a chip in a chair, as my buddy Andy Hake would say, they got a chance. Don't sleep on the Rebs. Snake will bite. Okay? Don't sleep on the Rebs. Tell you that right now. And they might go down in defeat against Kirtland. I don't want them to have bulletin board material and sit there and go, well, this idiot with the backwards hat on says that Crestview's going to beat Kirtland. I'll root for it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I won't. Crestview was one of the original 4 schools that brought YSN in. I root for them in a lot of different scenarios. But I can also assure you, after getting to know Paul Cusick over the last 6 years, while he will see it as an opportunity and an obstacle, he is not going to back away. If you're looking for him to opt out, I don't think you're barking up the right tree. I just don't. Let's move on to the next game. Edison taking on Indian Creek. This is a 99 percentile with certainty. They're going to say Edison by 36. That means that with this win, Edison would be 10-0 on the season in that Division 5, Region 17, and possibly match up with Cardinal Mooney, which is a projection that we have amongst many that I believe we have 24 games, and 6 of them are, what do you call them, local matchups. So that could be very, very interesting. We're going to take a quick break. We'll try to, here we go. Yep. I see you, Amo. Orange on Friday night. We'll call that upset on Friday. Is there any chance they can move up to 15, or are they locked in at 16? I think they're locked. I think they're deadlocked. From what I understand, there's a little bit of wiggle room in D6 and D7. And we're going to have our projection show, which will be part of the Joe Dickey Electric scoreboard show. Like Joe Dickey Electric will be 10 o'clock to 10:30. We'll do our projections 10:30 to 11. Because by then we have a really good idea who's matching up against who. Projections, not certainties. OHSAA makes all those. But we'll talk about it when we come back. Back after this on the Ysn Power Hour, right after these words from our great friends over at WFMJ.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
And thanks to WRS Insurance Solutions for their support of YSN, constantly here on the network. DJ Oakley with you. We're going through the fantastic 50.net spreads for this Friday and agreeing and disagreeing with them all the same. Thanks for tuning in, all of you. I appreciate you. All of you out there commenting and doing all that. Amo, I see you out there. And thanks to Richie Giuliano's father, Duluth, as always, for being part of it. Let's get right back into the thick of things here, where fell off my monitor. Here we go. We did Edison. Garfield, 7-2 by 32 points with 98% certainty over Liberty this week. Liberty has been battling on the field, off the field. They've been battling throughout the season, and here's your great prize at the end of the season. You get to play Garfield. Garfield, who suffered their second loss last week to Brookfield, looking for a little bit of a tune-up and that fine-tuned machine, and to get ready for, again, what is going to be a wild ride in D5, Region 17, by 32. Yeah, I'm going to say running clock there, so 32 is about right. So, yeah, I think Drew's pretty on point on this one. Next game is Girard, 6-3, taking on Niles McKinley, which they are 2-7 on the year. They have Girard listed as 27-point advantage, or with a 27-point advantage when it's all said and done, with 94% certainty. So I'm going to say, I guess it's a toss-up because you just don't know who's playing for Niles any given week. They have been just battered with injuries this year, and their kids trying to get back. I admire, like all hell, what Coach Perry's doing over there. But he's doing it with guys that are just dinged up, and it's tough to do. And Girard is looking to again. I mean, it's 6-3. They're one of the top dogs in Region 13. They're trying to put things together for a sustained playoff run, and I think they're gonna be close to that number, 27. Yeah, this week against Niles. Jefferson 6-3, and Lakeview 3-6. Lakeview has had a tough slide. Jefferson back on the rise again. They're picking Jefferson. I'm sorry about this cough, folks. They're picking Jefferson by 22. 89% certainty. I like it. Jefferson, they've been another one of those you don't know what to expect each and every week. Yeah, it depends on what, formulation or formation Coach Hanna wants to put together on any given week. And, they've used Grant Hitchcock all over the field, which has advantages and disadvantages. And you look at the personnel on tape, and I know that it bothered Coach Yeagley when they were going into the Jefferson week. But what is Jefferson going to look like? Are they going to be the air assault team that we thought they would be, at the beginning of the year? Or are they going to be a team that, looks shy on paper, on film? You just don't know. But I will take the Jefferson and 22. Lakeview's just had a tough year. I liked what they put on film and what we saw on Friday against South Range. I think that Nolan Toth is a great back. He's a power back. I think he's probably going to be the battering ram that keeps it at that 3-score-ish, if that's what it comes down to. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Lakeview somehow sneaks in a win here. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those head and heart things. I like Jefferson a lot, but Lakeview, they're one of those squirrely teams. You never bet against them. And even if they're picked by, getting 22 points, I kind of like Lakeview. I kind of like them because they've got a young team. And this would be a nice kind of launching point for the 2023 season if they can get a win over a Jefferson team who's leaving the conference anyway. So we'll see how it goes. Kirtland, 9-0, D6, Region 21, taking on Orange, 0-9, Region 13 and Division 4. And with 99 percentile, they're picking Kirtland over Orange by 49 points. Shock the world, Lions. Shock them. I think I'm just that crazy to think that the Lions are going to give Kirtland a game. What that means, I have no idea. But I think the Lions are going to be there. They're going to show up, and they're going to give Kirtland at least a sock in the mouth. Just one punch. If that's all it is, that's all it is. But Kirtland, we all know the animal that they are. Orange, we understand it's been a long year for a first-year coach who loves those kids and has loved on them every step of the way. I'm going to take if I was taking, I would take Orange in the points. I don't think it's 49. I don't think that happens. LeBray, this is a big one. Turn it up for this one. Turn it up. LeBray and Camel. Game's being played at Camel Memorial Stadium. Guys, LeBray is 0-9. Camel, 2-7. And the Fantastic 50 bunch are taking LeBray by 2. LeBray by 2. Again, like I told you, in regular sports betting, the home team always gets 3. Don't know if that's the way that they do it here. But what they're basically saying is that LeBray is 5 points better than Camel. I'm not sure I agree with that. I just don't know what team Campbell's going to bring on Friday night. I'm interested. I'm here for it because it could be the game of the night. But they've got LeBray with being a 2-point favorite over Campbell on Friday night. So that's interesting. That's a very interesting one. They might know something that we don't. Lakeside, 6-3 right now, Division II, Region 5, picked to win by 27 points over Edgewood. Ashtabula, 5-4, Division 4, Region 13. I wish Sam were here or Ryan because they'd be able to tell you a hell of a lot more than I can. But I know Lakeside is starting to kick it into gear from their side. I think Sam told us that they were injured the majority of the year. They've had a kind of a tough go at it. But even a tough go, you're still 6-3. There's nothing to shake a stick at there. You're 6-3. And to win by 27, to be picked to win by 27 with 94% certainty, I guess you got to take it from that standpoint. Then you get down to Lisbon. This is going to be another great game. Lisbon, who's 5-4 right now in Division 7, Region 25, taking on Columbiana, 2-7, D6, Region 21, and Columbiana is going to be 4-point dogs at home in their own stadium, and there is 60% certainty behind this. I'm interested. This is very, 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 very interesting. Columbiana coming off 2 straight wins, correct? Palestine and Latonia. And kind of finding their momentum here. And you've got a Lisbon team that had momentum, and we're not quite sure if they lost it or not. They got the Spaghetti Bowl. They got East Palestine. And now they get their rivals in the what they call, people call Columbiana coconuts or something like that. I still don't get that one. But they're picking the Devils by 4. And the Blue Devils have a great offense. You look at at Daly, you look at Sifke, you look at the big line that moves people, moves mountains. I'm not sure. I'm probably leaning towards Lisbon in this one. And 4 isn't crazy a number. But yeah, Columbiana, I think it's just been a tough year for them. Coach had to wait, 7 games to get his 200th victory officially. Did it against East Palestine, which I'm sure he loved. But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things and a lot of speculation going on in Columbiana right now that this one might be a win-one for the Gipper situation for the Clippers. So stay tuned on that. Go to Louisville, where they will be home against Western Reserve, possibly 2 weeks in a row. And the Fantastic 50 lists a Louisville team as a 28-point favorite. Now, I don't know what that means because everybody knows Vinny Ballone and Brady Benofsky and Anthony Luceni, the same guys that you saw last night. You had the running backs, you had, the linemen who, again, another group that completely under the radar. They can put up 50 points. So if you're favored by 28 and, you score, if you're Western Reserve and you score 25 points and you lose by 28, what can you do? What can you do? Stop Vinny Ballone. That's the only thing you got a chance to do. And I think it's pretty well documented that it's a hard task to conquer. So I will go, that's about right. 95% certainty is what they have it listed as. Let's go Matthews and Pie Valley. We're going to go through these real quick because we're wrapping up the show here. They got Matthews by 16, 82% certainty over Pie Valley. McDonald and Jackson Milton. This one, we talked about the 52%. It was Beechwood and Grand Valley, and now it's McDonald and Jackson Milton. Nobody knows. The MVAC is like the Wild Wild West. They're picking McDonald by 1 over Jackson Milton. Again, could be one of the best games on the night. We'll have it. It's going to be exciting. Schiavi, I can't imagine he's going to want to go into the playoffs on a lame duck note. And McDonald's trying to, for all intents and purposes, wreck Jackson Milton's season. So we'll see how that one goes. Let's go to Ridge, where they will be at Waterloo. Ridge, a 28-point favorite over the Vikings, 95% certainty. So a lot of feel good on that one from the Fantastic 50. New Bremen taking on St. John's. They're picked by 27 over the Heralds, 94% certainty. South Range 9-0. Hubbard 6-3. South Range by 33. And again, I think this is going to be another situation where Coach Yeagley goes up. You see the starters come out because even though they're going to be the 1 seed, projected, right? Projected, fingers crossed. Weird things happen. Weird things happen in week 10. Southern taking on United. This could be a gem. Like, I don't know what other way to put it. Could be an absolute wonderful game. A lot of people thought, especially after the Wellsville game with Valley, it could be for the EOAC title or a share of it. Fantastic 50 has Southern by 4, but fret not, United fans. It's only 60% certainty. 60. 6-0. Tune in. You don't want to miss it. Springfield by 49 over Sebring. I mean, what else can we talk about? You know, Sebring committing to 8-man football. You would hope that they'd want to go out with the, regular man football from that standpoint with with kind of some flair. But Springfield is bound and determined to not only be in the playoffs, but to make noise like they always do. And if I know Sean Guerrero, I don't think that he's going to want to take his foot off that pedal, regardless of who's on the other sideline. Pardon me. Struthers by 9 over Poland. That's with 69% certainty. This is a game I can't pick right now. I've had trouble with this. I don't know who Poland is still through 9 weeks. You've seen flashes of greatness. You've seen some times where you wonder, like, what's going on. And Struthers, they're putting things together. At 5-4, they're putting things together in a big way. So that to me could be one of the best games of the night. Let's catch up on some of these. Go Clips says Matteo Mazzata. Joe Guido is better. I don't know who he's better than a lot of quarterbacks. I agree with you on that. Cole Banofsky says Milton put up 20 and lost by 42. That's unreal. Yeah, it's crazy. It really is when you think about, all these. And again, these are entertainment purpose only. I don't want anybody knocking down my door saying we're gambling on this. Just trying to bring this to your attention. University School 7-1. The only loss being that South Range Raider team by 29 over Howland, who's 2-7 with 96% certainty. Let's go over a couple other ones before we get to the main one. Valley Christian by 43 with 99% certainty over East Palestine. Wellsville by 30 over Latonia with 97% certainty. And this is one that's really interesting to me. West Branch, 8-1 by 24 over Salem, who's 6-3. I think we've learned our lesson here at YSN that when these two teams meet, anything can happen. Anything can happen. I don't know that West Branch is good. And we've had our troubles with Salem this year, certainly. But I don't know that West Branch is 24 points better, or any of these teams are ever 24 points better than the other team here in this Week 10 matchup. I'm very, very interested, obviously, in this one. Beaver Local looks real good heading in the playoffs. I agree with that. I think I missed theirs. That was on here somewhere. The last game I want to talk about, we're going to dive a little in depth on this one. The 68th meeting of Ursuline and Cardinal Mooney. Ursuline 7-2, D3 Region 9, picked by 24 points, the same number we just talked about with West Branch and Salem. They're picked by 24 over Cardinal Mooney, who is 4-5, D5 Region 17. So what I wanted to get to was a little bit of information. So for those of you, I'll be on the call with Gary Niddle on Friday. So what's interesting to me is that this is the 68th meeting, okay? The Cardinals lead the series 41-23-3. So almost, I say almost, Mooney has doubled up the Irish in this meeting. There's been a couple forfeits. I should say one forfeit. Yes, one forfeit that occurred in 2001. I don't know why. Somebody could probably shed light on the situation. It really doesn't matter in this context. But the most interesting thing when I look at this is Ursuline has won the last three. In 2019, it was 20-13. 2020, it was 28-23. Last year, it was 43-12. And obviously, we know what Ursuline did heading into the state championship game. Ursuline has never won 4 meetings in a row. In all these years, in 68 years, I guess 67 years. Ursuline's never won 4 meetings with their humble foe 4 years in a row. If they win this year, it'll be the first time in history. So there's a little bit of history that Dan Reardon and the boys can paint as they head into the D3 playoffs for the first time in some time. There's a lot of speculation about will the loss to Steubenville dampen the Cardinals' spirits. I'm going to tell you, and not that I know from firsthand because I didn't go to either school, obviously, but I don't think that losing any of those games or winning any of those games necessarily matters at this point for either team. I told Dana earlier today, this is the same story, but just different characters. And from my perspective, this game has always been the cliche of you throw the records right out the window. And people could sit there and go, well, listen. Look at what Mooney has done. I respect the hell out of what Ursuline has done and who they've done it to. And the losses that they have, who they've lost to, and going toe-to-toe with those teams. But let's not go too far off the reservation here and understand that Mooney's losses, Boardman, Division II, the Cheney loss, Division III, both of them less than a score. And they were not only in both games, but had opportunities to win both games. You look at the firefight that Cheney and Ursuline had. I don't know which game was better. Cheney Ursuline, Cheney Mooney. And I got to be honest, if you're counting Mooney out, Drew Pastore has 24 points favoring the Ursuline Irish. And he very well could be right. But I'm just here to tell you, do not think for 1 minute that Mooney is just going to roll over and say, you know what? Because they've got a lot at stake. There's playoff seeding at stake for them. A team that nobody predicted to take on the Cardinals at the beginning of the season. Sean, I love it. Great points, DJ. With that being said, Ursuline wins 42-21. Well, it's not 24, Sean, so I feel better allowing someone to not pick 24 points. So thank you very much, Sean. And always we appreciate you tuning in. And certainly we appreciate your comments throughout the show. It helps us kind of know who's out there, and a very poignant comment from you. Very funny one. Back to the Mooney Ursuline thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Mooney's going to win. I'm not going to say that Ursuline's going to win. You'll have to tune in on Friday to figure that one out. But as a guy that's going to be at that game, and you know I love not only just football and announcing in general, but you know I love announcing the South Range Raiders. One of my great passions in life, especially the last 6 years. A team that has adopted me as much as it's been the other way around, and people can say whatever they want. That's fine. This guy don't care anymore. But I have to tell you, I am extremely excited to announce the Holy War and the 68th version of it. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be going toe-to-toe with some of our competition as well, which just gets me that much more geeked, because you know that we're going to be going absolutely bananas on both sides. And we just hope for a really good game. And I think we're going to get one. I think this has all the makings. Remember a couple years ago, it was, let me pull it up. It was 2019. I believe the year that Coach Reardon came back. Nobody gave Ursuline a shot to win that game. And look what they did. Started a streak. Started a historic possible run. Something that had never been done before. Leave it to Dan Reardon to keep creating history. We are going to take a break for about 23 hours. Richie will join the show tomorrow. We're going to talk computer points like we always do. I apologize for not getting to, here we go. Ooh, baby, I kissed my cat. Says, going to be a great game. Ursuline wins 31-24. That, to me, more feasible. One touchdown game. It's going to be good. I can't wait for it. Computer points, we'll talk that tomorrow. And then don't forget, projection show on Friday. And of course, Mike Ackelson, the Audible Call, will have the final rendition this week, week 10, on YSN. Thanks for tuning in. We're peacing out for about 23 hours. We'll see you at Legends, 7:30 tonight. Golden Dawn, 6:30 tonight. YSN. Peace. YSN thanks you for watching this